Hello everyone, welcome back and thank you for tuning in. In this video, I would like to break down the energetic themes that have been unfolding over the course of this year, 2025. It is, as I'm recording this, the eclipse season, the second eclipse season of 2025. We had the first round of eclipse season in March, and then we are in our second one. And these two eclipses, now that I am observing and reflecting on the themes that have been coming up and then feeling into what is to come towards the end of this year, it's becoming very clear to me where we are moving towards humanity, where is humanity moving towards, and what is collapsing. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. I will dive into uncovering the themes from this eclipse that we just had, and the reason why is because a lot of these themes that are coming up right now is actually linked to what's came up before, especially in the eclipse season in March of this year. So a lot of the things that I will be talking about aren't really new. They are things that you might have heard me talk about in previous videos, and it's actually something that keeps coming through in channelings, keeps coming through in messages. So I hope that you're not tired of hearing it by now, but it's coming up for a reason. It's coming up and it's repeating itself and it's intensifying for a reason. So I'll break down all of it. The first thing that is really coming through this eclipse season is actually the collapse of false light, of false projections, of inauthenticity and distortions. Basically, all of it surrounds inauthenticity. So you might actually observe it in your personal life or in the collective field in terms of the things that are happening around you, that are happening on the world stage. It is really showing us that the systems and the way of doing life, the way of leading, the structures that are not authentic, that are not truthful, is actually facing a big collapse right now. So in the previous eclipse season, in the beginning of this year, these things were already showing up. So we're being made to become more aware and to observe. In fact, these false light, these distortions, this inauthenticity has already shown up earlier in this year, which is how this is linked to the previous eclipse season, because in the previous eclipse season, the energy that I felt was that all these were coming up to the surface. So in the past, it was very hidden and people still couldn't really see through it, couldn't really see through the distortion, couldn't really see through the illusion. Then the energy has shifted, and collectively our consciousness has also shifted in a way where now we are seeing through these things more. At the same time, these things are also coming up to the surface more, coming out of their shell more. It's like this disguised energy, and finally it is showing its true colors. And on one hand, we are becoming more sensitive to energy, and therefore we can feel into these things more, we can see through it more. On the other hand, the energy has also shifted in a way where it's purging all these things. So that's how I felt in the beginning of the year, especially during the eclipse season in March, is when all of this, you would say, darkness, but darkness not really the word to describe it, and it doesn't mean that if something is false light or is distorted or is disguised, it means it is naturally malicious or harmful or bad. It's just, a lot of the times these things aren't bad in nature. It is just not its true nature. It doesn't mean that it naturally or innately has a negative agenda, though some can, but some is also just what it is. It's just not the truth. So a lot of that has been coming up to our awareness early in the beginning of this year, and then now we're at a point where there's almost like a force that now this false projections and this false light and distortions and things in disguise and not in authenticity, not in truth, cannot hold itself or hide behind a mask or facade any longer, so much so that it is now basically collapsing. And a lot of the times this can manifest in ways that are quite extreme. It doesn't necessarily have to, because some can be quite subtle, but just in general, it's just a collective energy that it needs to be shown this way, so much so that now we can come together to then fight for the light, to show up for the truth, to unite for this cause. And this is the second theme that's coming through, which is about the anchoring in of New Earth templates. It's really, really strongly anchoring in, and not just anchoring in its in a sense of energetically, but it's now manifesting physically. So I will share just a very clear example of what has been happening here in Bali, or in Indonesia in general. I'm currently based in Bali, and so previously, just maybe a week or so before the eclipse, there was a demonstration in Jakarta, and people were fighting for their rights, right? I won't go into the details of it, but basically there was a demonstration, and there was a lot of drama around that, but it was shedding light on a lot of systems that cannot hold in place anymore and cannot be the future anymore. So that's that. And then literally during the eclipse, there was a massive flood in Bali. Thankfully and fortunately, the area that I live in is not very much affected, but unfortunately a lot of the areas where most of the local people are staying in, their homes are completely destroyed, all their belongings. It's like literally overnight, just so many families lost everything, and some families even lose their loved ones. So it's one of the biggest floods in Bali, and it's not just about climate change. It's so easy to just, blame it on just one thing, like, oh, climate change, and because the rainfall is more, and weather patterns are so unpredictable, and therefore, the flood caused this destruction. And literally, when I saw videos of this flood, it looks like the amount of water looks like there was a tsunami in Bali, and the power from the water that was flowing through these regions, these places that people stay and have their motorbikes and their cars, like that is their livelihood. That power from the water was able to sweep away cars and cause cars to somehow end up on the roof of a person's house. Then a lot of it also then sort of extends to the systems that don't work anymore here, and how people are losing their connection with their ancestral knowledge, with this ancient knowledge that once kept this whole system, nature, humans living in on the land in harmony, in balance. And it's almost like a wake-up call, you know, for everyone to really rethink everything. There's so many issues that this is not the video to, you know, talk about it, but basically everything that is not in alignment with harmony, with balance, with respect, love. And love is not like, oh, I love you, you love me. It's not that kind of love, but you get what I mean, the love. It is also in this tragedy that I saw firsthand people coming to help each other, strangers coming to help each other, people who are of different backgrounds, different nationalities. Regardless of our differences, we come together to help each other. And that is so heartwarming to see the unity in people, to see the love, the unconditional love that we have for each other, treating each other as a part of us, even though we've never met them before. And the help that has been extended to the families and the communities that are affected by the flood is something that really screams the New Earth communities. So that's how the New Earth templates are manifesting in real life right now. And the common theme throughout, like it's not just this year, but even years before, it's already coming through. It's just that more and more it's becoming very important, and that is about discernment. Because a lot of this false light and a lot of this things or people, situations in disguise of something else, they're coming up, they're purging. We need more discernment right now. So another example actually is something that I felt into again during this episode of the Bali floods. I was so overwhelmed by the amount of people who are on social media posting their GoFundMe links, and you know, different organizations or different individuals even coming to put together resources or to sort of crowdfund resources to help those affected by the floods. I got so overwhelmed by it to the point where I literally had to stop engaging with the energy and sit with myself. And that was when I realized that was shocking to me, that I felt into the energy of the fake energy of people wanting to help, but then use this cause, a good cause, to satisfy their own personal interests. And that doesn't just mean people maybe misusing the funds that they've crowdfunded, but also the energy of, I'm doing this so that I can feel good about myself, so that I can feel good about myself helping people when they're in need. Like this ego that is screaming. And it was shocking to me that I felt into the energy of it, and it's almost like 80%, that was the number that I intuitively felt into. 80% of the people who are out there helping actually have, whether consciously or subconsciously, that own desire for personal gain. And I'm not there throwing shade at people who are helping. That I know literally organizations and people who are helping on the ground, and they just, authenticity is the big thing, that I can feel their authenticity. I can feel that they're genuine about it. And yeah, most people either just talk about it and don't do anything, or yeah, I don't know. So I was so confused, and I had to sit with it, and I realized what this is all about. And this is where the discernment piece is coming back up super strongly. That previously we've always been talking about discernment in the spiritual, community, where there's so many people talking about different things, what is true, what is false. I mean, in actual fact, there is no true and false, but using your own guidance, your own intuition to discern what you resonate with and what you don't resonate with, because it's not about what's right, what's wrong, then you follow this person, or you look up to this person. No, it's about the resonance that you feel within yourself. That is the inner compass. So if you resonate with it, then that speaks to you in that moment, and that has a purpose in that moment. And if you don't resonate with it, or if something feels off, then there must be a reason, even if you don't exactly know what it is, or you can't put words into it. It just doesn't resonate with you, and you don't have to interact with that energy. You can draw your boundaries. Personally, the boundary drawing thing is something that I'm sort of being guided to move through this process during the eclipse season. So drawing boundaries with people, with groups, is the thing that I'm doing right now. A lot of energies are in disguise, and therefore from the outside it might seem a certain way, but actually behind this mask, or behind this facade, is actually something else. And that obviously won't be like, outrightly put out. It's something that you feel for yourself. And therefore your personal practice is very important, whatever that is. Your personal practice actually builds that relationship, or the connection. It makes that connection with yourself, with your, whatever you want to call it, higher self, with source, stronger. And then that is when you know what is this voice that is inside of you, that is speaking to you, or noise from the outside world. Or maybe not the outside world, just another part of yourself, right? The lower mind, the ego. So now that we've covered the themes that have been showing up until now, there is an energy moving forward, and I'm guided to point it towards the 1111 portal. The 1111 portal is a convergence portal. And what that means is that it's almost like whatever we've gone through, personally or collectively, and it feels like there is so much tension from this interaction of polar opposites. So it could be, just very generally, the feminine masculine bit. It could be the darkness and the light bit. It could be true, false, this yes or no, 1 or 0. This energy we have been going through a lot, not just this year. It's even over the past couple of years. It's just been building up until this point that there's so much tension, but then this tension doesn't separate it even further. At some point it actually converges. It collapses back to 1, and it converges, and it harmonizes these two polar opposites back into union. So that's the energy that is going to come through closer towards the end of this year, and I feel like it's going to extend into the next year. So the next year is going to be a lot of harmonification of these dual energies. And another main thing is about the weaving and the reconciling of fragmentations, fragmented timelines, fragmented soul aspects, fragmented memories. Yes, fragmented memories. We do have fragmented memories that are intentionally certain memories are intentionally erased. I don't know why that came through, but yeah. Certain things are intentionally modified, but then we're at a level where we're ready consciously to actually remember all of these fragmentations and to weave them back into harmony. And the new earth themes are coming through very, very strongly as we move into the level 11 portal and into the next couple of years or so. It's the anchoring in and the manifestation of the new earth. And it doesn't mean a place, but more so the characteristics of the new earth. So it could be in your personal life, your way of life is going to be very different from how it was before. It could be the jobs, the career paths that we have once had conventionally is going to change. The way that we live, like literally our home, how it's powered, where it's gonna be, the communities that we live in, all of these things are going to have the new earth characteristics manifesting in it as we sort of journey on the next couple of years. A lot of us are going to remember what the true nature of reality and true nature of us really is, and what all of this is really about. So it is going to be less dual, not completely non-dual, less dual, and many of us are going to be able to actually shift between the states of dual, non-dual pretty easily and stabilize this frequency. So it's like dual, non-dual is also polar opposites, right? So we're going to be harmonizing it within our bodies, harmonizing it within ourselves and embodying it. And that is how the new earth characteristics and templates actually anchors in and manifests in this 3D as well. So you could say, yes, we are rising into 5D earth. Yes, consciousness is rising. People are awakening, and all these are just names, categories, labels to these shift that we're going through. It is a very big shift, a shift that we have never really had before, and it's almost also the convergence and the bringing together of ancient and future. So I think I briefly, I'm not sure if I did briefly mention this, but there was a moment where I felt like the ancient civilizations, or what we call the ancient civilizations, and the stories that we have about them are actually from the future civilizations. So really, past and future is not really separate, and they're actually the same. So again, this two, past, future, this dual thing converging into one and converging into this present moment that we are literally experiencing. So yeah, that is pretty much all that I wanted to share, and a little bit more as I was speaking, certain things were coming through. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I also noticed a very interesting synchronicity or not. I think everything is sort of already planned out, and we're just tuning into it as we live out our lives in the present moment. The theme of this 1111 portal actually is the theme for our Egypt trip in November of this year. I only today drew the relations with the eclipses that we've had, and also very interestingly, the last Egypt trip that I had was actually in March during the eclipse season. So that is sort of coming back into this journey that we're having so that we reconcile it, so that we harmonize the things that were coming up. There were many things around the sisterhood wounds and dark feminine energies and yeah, a lot of that shadowy stuff that was coming up during that trip to be cleared. So now in the upcoming trip, whoever is being called to join us, I believe that, you know, you're not here coincidentally. You didn't chance upon this journey coincidentally. You didn't feel this resonance for no reason. So there are still spots available. So if that is something that you are feeling resonance towards, feel free to check out the link in the description box below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let me know in the comment section below what themes you have been feeling into. I would love to know. Right, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.